Hey YouTube, it's been a while since I've posted on this channel. Merry Christmas. Like always, I try to use this channel to just discuss personal thoughts, ideas, beliefs, things that I kind of deal with and struggle with in my day-to-day. And I guess on this great holiday, or different ones if you have Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, I'm just discussing like distance. Not in the physical sense, but more in like the emotional sense. As far as I can remember, I don't think I've ever felt close to a single human being in my whole life. Even my family. I was always the black sheep of the family, and they didn't always see eye to eye with me on anything or many things. Even how I was raised, grown up, my brother and sister received much better resources and opportunities than me at a younger age that fostered development through, the windows of your life growing up, that you're supposed to have certain experiences to, become a functional, healthy adult, right? My windows were passed, and I never got a lot of those opportunities. My parents were immigrants. They worked really hard, and they did the best they could. And I know they did work hard, but that doesn't take away, the damage that was done due to the lack of resources or opportunities when I was younger. It made me kind of socially awkward, a little weird. Certain connections, mental health, self-esteem, how I view myself and how I view the world and others. It became very different and cutthroat for me at a very, very young age. And those experiences kind of like molded me in a way to almost see life on a different spectrum. On a spectrum like there's me, there's a chasm, and then there's people living their life almost like I'm watching life happen as a background character in everyone else's story, even my own. And I hate that to a degree because it truly feels like you're not really living life. Like, I can't say there's been a moment until like I did certain programs and volunteer programs where I felt like, damn, like now I feel like I'm a main character in my life again. Like I'm here. I'm not just in the background of someone else's life. So it definitely has been quite the journey, but at the same time, I've never understood people. It's like there's just this world of difference between me and their experiences. Like, I can't fathom how people could just enter like a club or a party or school or organization, whatever it is, and just talk to a stranger and just have a conversation, let alone more like, here's my number, let's hang out, or let's set up something. And then to take that even a step further, to do that and spend an isolated amount of time with this person, like that's mind-boggling to me. It's that kind of stuff has always been weird in my perspective, because it's like you have your life. I'm just some random person. Who am I to inject myself into your existence? And now if that person, whether girl or friend, doesn't matter, feels like they have to say no to you, now you're kind of in this space with this person. At the end of the day, you have to remember that this person did not want to hang out with you more. And maybe for some people that won't bother them, but for some people it will. And for some, it just makes the whole thing really fucking awkward, So I understand that aspect of it, keeping that distance, which in my perspective, this way of thinking helps in like work environments. But in environments that are inherently social, the point is to talk to people. But where are these spaces? I don't understand where these magical third spaces are supposed to exist for adults past college years. And it's, spaces where they're not trying to sell you any bullshit, like joining, like not trying to get you to vote for something or political alignment or some religious bullshit or some like Ponzi scheme. Like, where are the organizations or places adults can go to just casually, socially have fun, no strings attached, and meet people and kind of just connect and vibe with other humans? Because my whole life I have missed the windows when you're supposed to find that when you're younger, and I never had them. So now as an adult, the only friends that I really do have are the ones that I met, the few that I met when I was younger. So I didn't really need to get a window to meet these people because they were simply just always around. And I think that's the same way for a lot of people, but I think for most people who do hit those like opportunities of development and growth. They just learn how to do it. Example, some boys are younger, they get into sports, they fall in love with sports. Boys love sports, and they connect with other guys over that. And it doesn't matter where they go, they're probably able to easily connect with someone on that level. But what about the boys that don't like sports, that are more artistic or nerdy? Maybe now nerd stuff was accepted, but back in 2004, 5, 6, when I was growing up, it was a hell no. So it's like my hobbies too at that time in my life were just inherently against cultural norms of like friendship. And other people that also enjoyed those niche groups were introverted as well. So it's an inherently introverted hobby that has inherently introverted followers, which definitely made it even harder for me. But it makes sense why, people that are by themselves would take to those hobbies. So for me personally, I'm basically just trying to figure it out. And I just don't know. I don't know where people find these people, and I don't know how people are able to just connect with people and get people to like talk to them and miss them and be part of this camaraderie or brotherhood or group. Like, how does this happen? Even when you see like these couples and stuff, and you see how they talk and how they like met and stuff, like how, like for me, and I am so sick of people bashing on short men. That's why I started this thing. I hate that shit so much. But whether it's online or real life, if you don't meet a certain standard, you are entirely disregarded, or you have to work 100 times for 100 times. You have to work 100 times more for 100 times less, whether that's online or in person. The only difference is with online matchmaking or online dating or online friendship, you're at least given the chance to use your personality. In person, you're totally dismissed. That's why I'm confused when I hear people say that online dating doesn't work. No, it just doesn't work for you, because you are accepted. So you're getting less attention than you would in person, because in person you win the lottery, but not everyone does. That's why for other people, online helps us, because we're getting chances and opportunities that we never would have had access to beforehand. So privileged. So for me as a shorter guy at 5'2", it's like I am practically non-existent to not just my gender, but the opposite gender, unless a whole host of other things are put under it. And that feeling of being constantly disregarded is ridiculous, and no one should have to perform like a little monkey just to get shreds of attention, right? So it's, from my perspective, that's why I've never been, like, if you're born attractive or at the very least average, they have that default setting of acceptance, and it's just easier for them. Sure, I've heard average people say, yeah, we're not noticed. Yeah, sure, you're not noticed, but you're not disregarded either. That's like a neutral, which means if you're average or you fit in, you are in the perfect sweet spot of you're judged entirely off of what you do and say. Whereas with me, I'm discarded from the jump. I have to prove why I should even be there at all. I don't even get the luxury of just not being discarded. I have to work hard just to have a seat at the table. Whereas you have a seat at the table, you're just not getting a better hand than the next guy. Just be grateful for the chair at all, man. It's crazy. So, and like always, there's always going to be some guy who's going to comment and say, I'm short and I don't have a problem. Bro, why are you coping? Like, it's like you're trying to say, it's wild to me how a person can basically live their whole life, right? They never get into a car accident, as an example, and then they claim car accidents don't happen. I've driven safe for my whole life, and I'm telling you, that's not a thing. It's just you.